From the Chuck Scarborough Television Studio on the campus of the University of Southern Mississippi, this is SMTV News. News you can use.
Good evening, I'm Gianna Milanese.
And I'm Claire Cole.
In the wake of the 2024 presidential election, students at the University of Southern Mississippi are facing an uncertain future. With shifting political ideologies and new policies coming out of Washington, many students find themselves grappling with challenges that could impact everything, from their financial aid to their personal identities.
From the possible dismantling of the Department of Education to growing fears surrounding immigration reform and the tightening of student loan programs, the atmosphere on campus is charged with anxiety. For many, the fight to make it through college is no longer just about academics. It's about navigating a rapidly changing political landscape.
Today, we take a closer look at how the new administration policies are affecting USM students, both in the classroom and beyond. We spoke with students, faculty, and administrators to understand how the evolving political climate is shaping their educational experience and future.
I just think that he's a small-minded man.
I was disappointed of the recent election. I find it sad and scary for our future, for women, for immigrants, for really any minorities. I think we're all just scared and confused because there's no precedent for this.
These are concerned students at the University of Southern Mississippi. With the re-election of President Donald Trump, USM students are experiencing a change in political ideologies that could have lasting effects on their future. The dismantling of the Department of Education, the waging of war on gender identity and DEI language, and the very real possibility of deportation for international Golden Eagles has USM students anxious about their university.
I think that a lot of the things he says don't really make sense most of the time. He gets fact-checked a lot. He's not really truthful all the time. He doesn't say the right things, but, you know, I don't really like him.
One of the most important divisions that has a turbulent future ahead is the financial aid department. According to the official USM website, more than 80% of Southern Miss's population receives some form of financial assistance. The uncertain future of the Department of Education sparks worries that many students could see less federal money. USM Vice President of External Affairs Chad Driscoll states that the future is uncertain, but students need to be careful when digesting media about these new changes.
So, you know, it's too early to tell how things will go. Some things could carry on the same, like federal financial aid, and some things could change. So it's really too early to tell. But I think we all have to be careful reading the top line, and we've got to be, you know, critically thinking about it and doing our own investigation, reading things and determining, you know, what exactly, you know, the top line means as it comes down.
USM being a public university, it allows for a diverse campus, with 38% of the campus being minority and 63.7% being women. This environment has brought together all walks of life, including different gender identities, races, nationalities, and ethnicities. The very lifeblood of our campus and our generation is based on being free to choose what you would like to classify as. USM political science professor Troy Gibson states that the gender identity politics the Democratic Party co-signed harmed their reputation with voters.
But they didn't want to be identified or associated with identity politics of the Democratic Party, with its, you know, sexual liberation movements and secular ideologies and, you know, the university's elites. They didn't want to be associated with that. And so I think that the catalyst for the rise of the right-wing secular movement has largely been the race of the Democratic Party center to the left. And embracing progressivism.
Gibson also says that this aggressive stance on social movement ultimately alienated the working class people who normally sided with the left.
Embracing not liberalism but progressivism, which is a much more militant kind of left-wing movement. And I think that alienated and a lot of voters who were never all that comfortable with the Republican Party because they were union workers, they were lower class, but because the left tended to go for the culture warrior group the sort of social movement, identity politics. The Democratic Party abandoned that group of voters who traditionally voted at least moderately, if not in the direction of the Democratic Party, working class people.
Although many people have been outraged with this current administration's decisions, University General Councilman John Weathers shares some optimistic views for the future.
The Vietnam years, I mean, it was a big shift, and people got sick of the war, and so the pendulum kind of went back, and so it's always been a political shift, not so much extreme left or extreme right, but it's always been, it seemed like one side of the country was one way, and they, believe it or not, used to be, more people used to be in the middle, and then you had these fringes on the sides.
With new changes bound to happen and the political landscape of our country undetermined, USM students, faculty, and staff's growing anxiety is understood. Micah Gibbs, SMTV.
While politics are impacting students in the classroom and campus, they're also playing out online. From Instagram posts to TikTok videos, students are finding new ways to express their political beliefs. But how much does social media influence what we believe and how we express it? We spoke with students and faculty to see how social media is shaping political discussions on campus.
On a college campus, students are constantly exposed to different political perspectives. But in today's social media-driven world, does that exposure create an open dialogue or pressure to comply with it? We spoke to students here at the University of Southern Mississippi to find out whether they feel free to express their political beliefs, both online and in person. Many students, including USM senior Ainsley Terry, agreed that social media has played a major role in the way they express their own political beliefs.
Social media does influence how I speak on my political opinion compared to daily life. I would much rather post about it online than talk about it in person. However, over the recent election, I posted a few things about Trump and him winning, and I got many unfollowers. So I feel that either way, it is very difficult to speak about your political beliefs, whether in person or on social media.
Terry is just one of many students that feel this way. USM junior Tamaya Page agrees that she too can express her opinion better online.
I honestly feel like I can express my political beliefs more online than in person, just because on Instagram it's more like one-sided or two-sided depending on which political party you're looking at. But if you're on TikTok, it's more one-sided. So I just feel like I would be more genuine to open up more on social media than anything else.
Along with interviews, a series of anonymous surveys were launched through Yik Yak and Instagram under the handle @SpeakYourTruthUSM to find out if social media plays a role in receiving their political news. The responses received were immediate and honest. One student wrote, "If it's not on social media, I don't know about it or see it. So yeah, social media plays a huge part." Another added, "Social media made me more left-leaning because I had more access to different types of people going through different things, and I hear about more things on social media than on the news." These insights highlight how social media platforms are not just sources of news. They influence beliefs and methods of expression. This suggests that social media is playing a major role in shaping political discussions among students, but also making it more difficult for them to openly express diverse opinions in person, especially in settings like classrooms or campus events.
I was very honest about my political beliefs in the first assignment that we had, and I ended up getting a bad grade. So later on in the class, I decided to fit into the norm of everyone else in my class and change my political beliefs, and my grades started to get better, which was very unfortunate.
It is important that faculty and student leaders create a space for open political discussion. Senior Haley Perkins says it's important to address that there are political differences.
Addressing that there is political differences and political sides, and making sure that this is the place that you can be open to. Like, you don't want to play favorites, you don't want to single people out, because that only fuels it more. So yeah, I think just starting with a basic foundation of that there is different sides, but I think here this is the place where we can share both sides effectively.
Along with accepting political differences, there are other ways to create open political discussions, like knowing the facts before believing what we hear. Leah Johnson, a junior and president of Student Government Association, says that she does not comment on things she has only learned from social media.
Personally, something I try to do is not comment on just things that I've learned on social media, like actually going and investigating what's happening behind the scenes and getting more of a perspective than what you can read on an Instagram story or on a short Instagram post. And I think sometimes those things can be a little inflammatory, because they're going to post the things that it's just like the news, right? You're going to post the things that are the craziest headlines. And if people don't investigate that and read into it further, it might cause a certain perception of something that's maybe not fully true.
This approach makes faculty and students take a step back to ask questions and research the facts behind the feed. As social media continues to shape our political beliefs, some students feel empowered to share their beliefs, while others feel the need to stay silent. The question remains, is social media creating discussion or limiting it? Across the country, college campuses are experiencing a period of transition. What once felt like safe havens for progressive ideals are now sites of tension, with students navigating a growth of political shift to the right. For many students, just getting through their daily lives on campus now requires caution. As political ideologies shift, some students feel increasingly alienated. We spoke with students about how these political changes are impacting their campus experience and their sense of safety.
Hi, my name is Delilah Chamberlain. I'm a sophomore psychology major, and I'm from Laurel, Mississippi.
Hello, my name is Brittany Otis. I'm an elementary education major, and I'm from Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Hello, my name is Diamond Haggard Gibbs. I'm currently a political science major, and I'm from Greenville, Mississippi.
My name is Xavier Russell. I'm from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and my major is criminal justice.
My name is Michael Christmas. I'm a business administration major here at the University of Southern Mississippi, and I'm from Amite City, Louisiana.
Quite honestly, I wasn't really aware the college had policies on gender inclusivity. Admittedly, I haven't done that much research into it myself, but the interactions I have had with Title IX offices or the Dean of Students office, it has just been reiterated how few protections we actually have as gender minorities because of the wording that's used in things like zero tolerance policies. It's so difficult to actually get evidence, get a conviction, actually get certainty in the eyes of these offices that something has happened to enforce these policies. So in practice, they're really just performative. There's not really that many protections for women and other minorities, and I've experienced that firsthand.
Absolutely. In class, when things like this come up, I feel like I can't say anything because I feel like I'll be perceived as sensitive or I need to get over it. And due to my race, most of the time, I am at a PWI, and so sometimes I feel like my classmates cannot relate to the experiences I go through, and they might not see the issue in what I'm talking about, or in my, not just my gender classes, but due to my gender, I feel like my male classmates won't take what I'm saying as seriously either. They'll feel like it's not that big of a deal.
Well, there is a group that I'm a part of called Reading History. I feel very seen as a woman, as a black woman at that. The group is all about reading. It's all about celebrating black female authors, and I really feel seen in that group because, I love to read, and I also like to write in my free time, and I just feel like we need a little bit more spotlight on black female authors. When I think about groups and organizations, I think about the black fraternities and sororities, especially, the Zetas, the Deltas, the AKAs, the Poodles, those lovely ladies. They have always made me feel seen on campus. They have always made me feel good as a black woman on campus. Programs like PRISM, LGBTQ+, as a trans ally, someone in the trans community, as a non-binary person. I feel very seen in that community as well. They host a lot of events, and I like to show up to them. I like to see the community. I like to see how we come out.
All right, so I do think students are more scared to go out and protest. I know there are some every now and then, but I do think they are more scared to go out and vocalize what they stand for and how they stand for, and exactly because most of the people that are out there protesting aren't trans or gay in any sense. They're just allies of people who are, and so they're out there protesting for their friends. And I think the way the political shift of the world has been, is that is that it has turned it around. Like, it has made people more scared to go out and, if you're not going with the tide of the way it's going now, it makes you more scared to go out and say that you're against it, or that you're for this, or that you're for that, or that you're against that.
I'm not typically somebody that thinks about gender on a day-to-day basis. So, and I don't really have those conversations on a day-to-day basis. So I really can't give you a good answer on that. But just from the little bit that I have seen, possibly.
I am a daughter of Aphrodite. In the way that before I was taught to speak, I was taught to present myself, sit up straight, cross your legs, never leave a stain on the tablecloth. It doesn't matter what you have to say, only how they see you. In the way that before I was taught how to be a person, I was taught how to teach a man how to be one. You are a woman, you must know better, always know better.
For many students at USM, political changes are impacting more than just their classroom experiences. International students in particular are facing unique challenges, from fears about immigration policy changes to uncertainty about their future in the U.S. We spoke with several international students at USM to learn how these political shifts are affecting their education.
The actions that have been taken by the Trump administration since his election are unavoidable. While many Americans are feeling the pressure of these new policies being created, a number of these actions directly involve international students right here at the University of Southern Mississippi. Policy changes such as the Birthright Citizenship Act of 2025, the dissolution of DEI programs have garnered attention and concern across the nation. And upon speaking with a number of USM's international students, there appears to be a varying spectrum of reaction to these changes. USM currently hosts 500 international students. These students make up what is considered the fourth largest ethnic group of the campus, coming from over 80 different countries worldwide. Many of these students have varying opinions over a number of concerns such as the Birthright Citizenship Act. With this new policy, troubling concerns such as deportations have raised from many, while others have remained relatively calm. Juan Sayel, a USM graduate student and soccer coach from Colombia, shares whether or not he has been affected since the administration took office.
Personally, as international students, I think we haven't seen that much effect regarding the new government. Like I mentioned, we are kind of in a status right now that we're kind of protected in a sense, like the things are really stable in a sense of like things have been kind of similar. I know there has been like different promises regarding for international students, but currently at the moment, I haven't heard about somebody getting affected or something like that.
Maureen Fortuna, a Belgian grad student who's now a French teacher, shared a more distressed perspective.
We are a little bit fearful for our future here, but today we don't really see. I mean, we're just in a state of like, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what tomorrow is going to be. And for example, me and my friends would like to find a job here, but we don't know if we'll actually be able to do so. So it's very concerning for us. But as in today, like we don't have any major issue. Like we're not fearful of being deported or anything, but because we're legal. But like, it's just like uncertainty. That's
Some of this concern could spur from the revoking of international student visas and funding as well. Ray Johnny Serenivi's son, a former Columbia University PhD student from India, resorted to fleeing to Canada after her student visa was suddenly revoked as she faced the threat of being taken into custody by ICE. This comes after President Trump's crackdown on international students who have participated in pro-Palestinian protests, similar to the ones held at the University of Southern Mississippi. Serenivi's son's case is not the only one of its nature to have happened since Trump took office. According to Inside Higher Ed, over 1,000 students and recent graduates from over 107 different universities across the nation have had their legal status changed by the Department of Education. It seems that these instances such as these have become more prevalent than many originally anticipated. Litzet Wood, a language teacher at the University of Southern Mississippi from Guatemala, shared how these funding changes have affected her and many others.
But we came here because of funding, and funding has been cut. So it's affecting everyone, I guess. It's affecting especially students because even if you are like an outstanding student who want to do a PhD, who wants to give something to this country, you cannot do it because fundings are being cut and that's affecting everyone.
These new policies targeting DEI programs can be disastrous for many international students and even faculty. While there has yet to be any proof of widespread panic among USM students and faculty, there is evident unease among the community. President of USM's Faculty Senate, Joshua Bernstein, says that from his perspective, there is in fact some tension spread throughout the university.
My own views are that there is a tremendous amount of anxiety right now among students, faculty, and staff, and community members too, because I do feel we're living through what is the start of essentially an authoritarian crackdown on learning. There's a tremendous amount of anxiety over what I think is a considered effort to stamp out dissent or viewpoints that might not be in agreement with those of the people who are in power right now. And I think there's a tremendous amount of concern that what's happening at universities reflects a much broader assault on freedom of speech and really the right of individuals to constructively disagree with each other.
Reactions from many students and faculty members reflect Bernstein's statement. When discussing her thoughts on the Trump administration, Marie Fortuna declared that she had strong opinions on the matter.
I don't like a lot of things that he does and that his administration is doing. But yeah, I mean, we have to roll with that. And as international students, we don't have a say in it. So it's just frustrating. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fortuna went on to discuss a fear of being forced to go back to Belgium while she still has a family and boyfriend in the United States and still wishes to find work here in the U.S. Litsette Wolf also voiced her personal affliction involving her family. She went on to share how her daughter, who was here in the U.S. before Trump re-entered office, faced racism at school. She and her daughter visited Litsette's home country of Guatemala and ultimately made the difficult decision that would be best if her daughter stayed there following the recent election results. The decision spurred from racism that her daughter had faced at school and also the fear of being taken away by ICE. She recalled the heartbreaking scenario her sister described to her.
My sister was like, you can be working and you're legal, but then all of a sudden they can get to a school and then they will call you and they will be like, she's been taken. What are you going to do? And I can't even picture and imagine like them taking my baby and me not being there to fight for her. And so that's why I think it's a matter not about politics, it's a matter about being a human being and thinking about what we want for the future of a country that portrayed or seemed to be a good place to be. Because, as one of my friends from a South American country said, before coming here, you think that this is a dream. But then once you are here, you even see citizens struggling and you change your mindset. And so, yeah.
At the same time, there are also those who have a rather indifferent or even supportive stance of the Trump administration and some of the actions that have taken place so far. When discussing his views on the administration, Juan Sayel had this to say.
I think it's kind of interesting on a way of how he's kind of leading in more of a sense of course, making America great again. So you can really tell that he has kind of a lot of ownership about his country and he wants to make his country to look like the dominant, so bring that dominance of United States like it was before.
Leslie Ann Yevez voiced her and her family's support of Trump and their satisfaction with the election results.
I'm going to say that my family is very Republican and conservative, so most of them were really happy with the decision. And I'm going to be honest, me as well, as a conservative person, I think that I prefer economics versus ideologies. And I feel like in some cases, I do feel like we made a right choice with the presidency.
Leslie Ann went on to detail her favoring of Trump's economic approach and praised his ability to follow through with his statements. Clearly, there is no definite answer as to how USM's international population is feeling about Trump's administration back in office. A number of majorly impactful changes have already been made, even though the U.S. is still in the very early stages of Trump's second term. So it will be in good interest to keep an eye on how international students and faculty are impacted by any new striking policies and the news to come from the Trump administration.
For many students, paying for college is a challenge in itself, but recent policy changes under the Trump administration can make it even more difficult, particularly for those who rely on financial aid and loan forgiveness programs. We spoke with students who are concerned about the future of these crucial resources and what it can mean for their education.
For many students, paying for college is already a challenge, but recent financial policy changes under the Trump administrations are making it even worse and difficult.
At the University of Southern Mississippi, many students rely on federal aid and loan forgiveness programs to make ends meet. But with new shifts in the national policy, that support could be in jeopardy.
For me personally, I pay for school out of pocket a little bit, and most of it is covered by financial aid. It is a little hard to imagine a world without financial aid, seeing as Trump did try to withhold it.
In March, the Trump administration issued an executive order calling for the closure of the Department of Education. The department currently oversees more than $1.6 trillion in student loan debt, including loans used by hundreds of students here at USM. While the future of programs like public service loan forgiveness remains uncertain, students say the lack of clarity is what's most alarming.
Someone who relies mostly on financial aid, it does scare me for our future at school and on campus, since I don't get many scholarships, so it is alarming to me.
Rising tuition costs are adding even more stress. Since 2000, the average cost of attending a 4-year public university has nearly tripled. For USM students, that means working more hours, taking on more debt, or possibly dropping out. As national policies shift, Southern Miss students are left waiting, hoping that financial aid programs they depend on won't disappear overnight.
I do not work. I'm not employed. Financial aid is the main way I provide for, and scholarships, in general, is the main way I can afford school. So without that, I probably wouldn't be here.
For someone like Amani, work is out of the question. Many students have to choose between the two, left with financial instability. With fewer protections and more uncertainty, Southern Miss students say they're stuck in the limo, waiting to see how national decisions will reshape their futures.
The political landscape is rapidly changing, and for students at the University of Southern Mississippi, it's leaving many questioning what the future holds.
From the impact of new policies on immigration and education to the uncertainty of financial aid and campus discussions, students here are facing challenges like never before.
These issues will continue to shape the experience of USM students in the years to come. For now, they're hoping for clarity and a path forward.
While some face anxious waiting, others remain hopeful that change can still be made. One thing is certain, the political waves have reached campus.
For SMTV, I'm Gianna Milanese.
And I'm Claire Cole.
Thank you for watching.
And as always, Southern Miss
to the top.